and let us all do we can to build a better future. Yes, these cell phones, these social media is playing a pivotal role in our lives. And unfortunately, we have heated opinions and different perspectives. And Bree and Robby from Rising the Hill are kind of going back and forth. They have a little bit of anger. Robby, I told you to have a Snickers bar because there's misinformation and stuff being shared by the State Department. And as the bombings in Gaza continue to happen, it is abundantly clear that we have a lot of questions about what took place on October 7th. People have a right to know. And Bree and Robby both share their perspectives. And this is a 17-minute video, but I will get to the point to where it kind of gets a little spicy, where they have their little fight. So not fight, but don't worry. Hey, we could still be civil and apologize and work together. So let's pull up this video and play it.
If Hamas agrees to demobilize its activities, perhaps in favor of the Palestinian
I really hope
Authority.
that Israel does take this seriously. Hamas, of course, offered an exchange of prisoners for a ceasefire weeks ago. And Israel at that time said no. They seem to be more interested in continuing the siege for their own reasons. It does seem now that the pressure has mounted on the Biden administration in Israel as international opinions start to sway. And I think the reason is because we've gone from a couple of weeks ago, people disputing that Israel could ever bomb a hospital, to Israel now having immobilized and bombed every single hospital in Gaza. And the last of it was over the weekend with Al-Shifa Hospital.
There are tunnels under those hospitals where there are Hamas
Robby,
officials detaining and holding captive.
Now, look, social media has had a track record of giving out misinformation, and government officials have had a track record of giving out misinformation. Case in point, Russiagate, or those also fantastic weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. That was a big deal back in the day. Oh, well, probably nothing to worry about. And of course, let's face it as well, you know, it's a little bit minor, but let's bring up the Hunter Biden laptop story as well, where that was deemed fake. And all of social media was in a buzz, especially those with the establishment saying that was fake news. But oh, wait, it turned out to be real. Now, when you see hospitals getting bombed and refugee centers being bombed, people watching it are asking questions about, hey, why is this happening? What's going on? And now you have a narrative of, well, there's Hamas groups in there. Do we know? Is it true? Are there underground tunnels? How convenient blowing up a hospital. And even though that there are elderly patients and children and severely wounded individuals who cannot escape, and yet the bombings still continue.
I appreciate that you seem to have swallowed hook, line, and sinker the State Department's talking
I watched
points.
the videos. You can watch a video of it.
You watched a video of the tunnel. That's absolutely not true, Robby. You cannot say that. I'm sorry. You watched the video of the IDF soldiers going into the hospital, pointing at. Wait a minute, Robby.
Everything the terrorists say is accurate. Everything Israel says is inaccurate.
Let's talk about this.
You're a simpleton when it comes to this.
If you insult.
Why, Bobby? Bobby, why? Bobby? No, Bobby. No. No. You got to have a Snickers bar, Bobby. Don't be calling her a simpleton. I mean, let's face it. She's dealt with Jank and Sammy Boy Cedar. The way she just corrects Robby right then and there, just you could tell that was messed up. Hold on, let's play it.
Terrorists say is accurate. Everything
Robby,
Israel says is inaccurate.
Let's talk about this.
You're a simpleton when it comes to this.
If you insult me like that again on the show, Robby, we might not be sitting here again together. So I advise you to control yourself.
Don't say I take
don't make
hook, line, and sinker
attacks.
everything the mainstream media tells me to think that is obviously not clear as we watch this show.
Let's talk about the video, Robby. The video that was going around, and we maybe should pull up a clip of it if we can, was IDF soldiers going into a hospital, one of the many hospitals that they've now demobilized. And the soldier, and in lieu of finding any tunnels, starts picking up Pampers and other kind of materials, then points to a sign on the wall, like a piece of paper on the wall with Arabic writing on it, and says, this is a list of hostages. See, this is proof that this is a terrorist hotbed.
And it wasn't a list. It's a calendar.
Arabic readers then just read the thing. You can see the language on the sign. It's the days of the week in Arabic. It's like a calendar.
Okay, what about the guns and the chair?
I have seen no evidence.
Okay, watch that same video later. They find guns.
No, it's not. So your argument is that the fact of guns, which I have not seen reported.
I didn't see it reported. I watched it.
Now, look, you can watch things on social media, but you got to have the argument. I really have to tip my hat off to Briahna Joy Gray. I don't know how you have the patience to do it. You know, you're a better person than me. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Better person than me. I don't think I have that patience, but I try. I struggle, but I do try. Seriously, I do. But hey, let's have democracy in the chat. I want to add all of you lovely people in here. Type 1 for no, kid. I can have that patience too. It's tough. And yes, sometimes I let things slide. It's tough to let things slide. It's difficult to do that. To let go of anger and grief. Type 2 for no, man. No. Firm slap right across the face. How dare you talk to me like that? How dare you?
Watched it. I suppose I should trust people who serially retweet pictures of dead Syrians claiming they're dead Palestinians. I should trust them instead of my own eyes when I watch these videos.
I feel like it's a little inappropriate for you to substitute in that tweeter. What I'm specifically citing Haaretz, a major news publication in Israel. Israelis seem to be comfortable talking about the true facts behind what happened on October 7th. It does not minimize the 1,200 odd people who were killed on that day, to have an accounting of the number of them that were soldiers, the number of them that were children, the number of them that were elderly, the number of them that were killed by Israeli forces and not actually by Hamas in the crossfire. All of those things, if you are a victim or a family of a victim of someone who died on October 7th, the Israelis who are victimized by this want to know the truth. They don't care about narratives that are going to protect Netanyahu if they kill their
I want to know the truth as well.
Okay, so...
And the truth is very messy here because...
All right.
I think it's important for people to ask the truth. You know, there are still people who feel that, you know, the war on terror, 9/11, we never got the full truth behind it. And there are some serious questions about what led to this conflict and how it was allowed to happen, or here's that, who was asleep at the wheel. There are questions upon questions that people have a right to ask. And unfortunately, the foundation for the next conflict is being laid down because of what is happening and is not being stopped by our politicians either. 11,000 plus people dead in Gaza. How much higher must the number be?
So all I wanted to get to was to point to the fact that pressure is mounting against Joe Biden. And I think the reason is this. Doctors Without Borders put out this report about what's going on at Al-Shifa Hospital over the weekend. They noted that there had been snipers that sniped in through the IDF snipers that sniped in and killed and hit 2 patients through a window of a hospital. The argument for how that is targeting Hamas is very unclear. They said, we don't have electricity. There's no water in the hospital. There's no food. People will die in a few hours without functioning ventilators. In the front of the main gate, there are many bodies. There are also injured patients. We can't bring them inside. When we sent an ambulance to bring in the patients a few meters away and they attacked the ambulance, there are injured people around the hospital looking for medical care. We can't bring them inside. Here's the bit about, there's also a sniper who attacked patients. They have gunshot wounds. We operated on 3 of them. The situation is very bad. It is inhuman. It's a closed area. No one knows about us. We don't have an internet connection. You managed to call me now, but maybe you'll have to try 10 times before you reach me again. The medical team agreed to leave the hospital only if patients are evacuated first. We don't want to leave our patients. There are 600 inpatients, 37 babies, someone who needs an ICU. We can't leave them. I think that kind of reporting is exactly why Biden is feeling the pressure to put the pressure on Israel to at very least do a temporary ceasefire. We'll see if this actually materializes into something more substantive.
You know, hearing the commentary, the letter of the first responders, medical staff in that hospital in Gaza, it's difficult to listen to because they made an oath to not leave their patients, but yet they're still being attacked by artillery, aerial strikes, sniper shots. I mean, it's a hospital. People are trying to get care, medicine. There's no fuel, water, food. Nothing is coming through. No support, no aid. And these doctors are there working tirelessly day in, day out, just to ensure that they give care to their patients. And this is why people are calling for a ceasefire. And many people are wondering why our politicians are so indifferent. And because of this conflict, everything is becoming heated. Everything is becoming miserable. There must be peace. There has to be a ceasefire. When's enough is enough. And everything that we see on social media is just adding more fuel to this devastating fire. Seems like nothing is going to change. History just keeps on repeating itself through this unending cycle of man's inhumanity to man. We are all brothers on this planet. We're not getting off this planet anytime soon. We're all here, stuck here together. We have to learn to live with one another, or we're not going to make it.
Given that there have been efforts by Hamas to do prisoner exchanges much earlier in this conflict, but I hope for all involved that not only is there some kind of ceasefire, but that there's an immediate provision of medical aid, water, and food to the people who are living in these horrible circumstances.
I hope there's a ceasefire too, and I hope it's enduring. I just don't know how it can be enduring while Hamas continues to exist, and I don't think they're close enough in the negotiating table.
Well, look, Hamas has existed for the last 17 years, and Israel did repeatedly mow the lawn and randomly kill Gazans during that time period. But certainly the level of gruesome civilian death that we've seen in the last 4 weeks is unprecedented. So at the very least, Israel knows how to coexist with the people they've been keeping in the open air prison for decades.
They're not going to.
They could at least return to that status quo.
I don't think the state of Israel is willing to return to a status quo, given what happened on October 7th and given Hamas's stated commitment to have more October 7th until they get everything that they want.
Unfortunately, there is some truth with what Robby said. After everything that took place, every single shot that was fired, every wound, every injury, every death, the next conflict will happen, I don't know, 5 or 10 years down the road because of the incidents and situations that took place now. Everything has a response. There's a consequence and reaction to everything. And we have to be better. We have to be better to each other. And we have to understand that this war that is causing young people, civilians in Gaza to be destroyed must come to an end. And we can all have our perspectives and points of view, but enough is enough. Where's the death toll at now? Let me pull this up here. Palestinian death toll reaches 11,078 souls. Currently, the number has risen, and it's going to continue to rise. U.S. politicians, where are you at? Why are you so quiet?
Yeah, I think that's right. I don't think that Gazans are willing to continue to live indefinitely in an open-air prison in violation of international law.
I'm talking about Hamas.
Right, and Hamas...
Does Hamas need to be the governing body of the people in Gaza?
I don't know. Do you want to hold another election? Do you want to...
Of course.
Wait, but do you want to do regime change? Because this is what Hillary Clinton was being criticized for just in the last week for saying that I don't want to misquote her, but she said something along the lines of we should have been guaranteed more closely the outcome of that election. Like we should have controlled the outcome of the election.
Well, hopefully it can be done via diplomacy. But the state of Israel is not going to tolerate Hamas on its borders, given what happened.
That's evident. And that's why we're seeing ethnic cleansing and genocide.
And Hamas is not going to tolerate the existence of the state of Israel. So this idea that there could be that is a fantasy we're projecting onto them. Both sides have wanted to fight, so they're fighting, and innocent people are dying by the thousands. And it's terrible, but that's...
Now, look, hold on. There's a couple things we're going to rewind back here because I kind of like how Briahna Joy Gray was looking at the camera. But first of all, whenever we've interfered or there's been an election that's taking place and the United States is involved, we've usually interfered with it. We usually somehow rig it to our favors. And as always, ended an epic failure, blowing up in our faces. So real quick, I do want to play this video again, just rewinding it one more time.
So this idea that there could be that is a fantasy we're projecting onto them. Both sides have wanted to fight, so they're fighting, and innocent people are dying by the thousands. And it's terrible, but that's the way it's going.
Hold on. Let me just rewind that again.
We're projecting onto them. Both sides have wanted to fight, so they're fighting, and innocent people are dying by the thousands. And it's terrible.
I like how Briahna Joy Gray just looks at the camera, just right there. Just wanted to pause it right there. It's on par of, yeah, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here. Hey, I have to bring in some humor. Look, the world is bleak enough as it is. And I got to tell you, folks, I fear it's going to keep on getting grimmer and darker. And if we don't have in the light of humor, or at least the ability to put in some goodwill in the world, it's going to start becoming far more miserable. So let's try and find some humor when we can. That's just great. It's how Briahna Joy Gray just looked at the camera. I don't know if she did that on purpose or not, but it fits on par of, yeah, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here.
But that's the way it's going to be unless Hamas is dealt with. But I hope there's an enduring ceasefire and they work things out, because I don't like seeing these images of blown apart people on either side of this conflict. And I don't think U.S. policy should continue to endorse or support it. And I wouldn't have thought U.S. policy should do that anyway. It's not really our business. It doesn't serve our security interests. It's our money, not theirs. So we don't have disagreement on that. But we will continue to monitor. I apologize for what I said and losing my temper earlier.
Robby, you got to listen to old Kit Kat here. Get yourself a Snickers bar. Something like that, man. You always get too little hangry.
I did not mean to also imply that you are a state.
No, you're fine. This one's on me. You're fine. More Rising right after this.
There we go. Come on, buddies. Come on, you two. Bree, Robby. If they can find peace, so can the rest of the world. Why not? It is possible. Maybe. Perhaps maybe I'm projecting too much. I don't know. What a sight it would be. Peace in our time. But we got to be careful here on social media. As a final note for this, look. This right here, this fancy thing called a cell phone, or our laptops, or our computers, or anything else that we use, plays a pivotal role in how we perceive and get information. And it's important to look at everything through different perspectives and points of view. It's easy for us to get emotionally attached to what we see and hear on social media. And that's why I expect all of you, my viewing audience, to look at other perspectives and points of view as well. You may not like it, but at least we become better individuals by it, more well-rounded, and perhaps understand one another. Unfortunately, I don't see the ceasefire happening anytime soon. I don't see a peace happening anytime soon. I don't see any dialogue happening anytime soon. And this is maddening to me. We have to be better for each other and the next generation. Otherwise, there will not be a world left. And we have to respect one another's opinions. And hopefully, we can get there. It's just not going to be today.